Hello, this is Betty Brown.
Hi, this is Joe. I'm calling from Walgreens. I've got some products that I'd like to sell you.
Really? How are you going to sell me some products and we've never even met? Do you even know what my needs are?
Hi, I'm Daniel and welcome to the Walgreens Telephone Selling Module number 2. The do stage, the action stage, the sales call execution stage. And in this module, I'll provide you with 6 tips. And the application of these tips will separate top performers from average performers in telephone sales. And speaking of average performers, our friend in the video didn't really have his sales call execution together. Now, did he? He was insincere. He talked more and asked less. Do you know of anyone like that? Not you, but maybe someone you know. Let me remind you about how this Walgreens telephone selling module is organized. The tips will be organized into 2 sets. Set number 1, tips about your mindset, the mental edge, your attitude. Set tip 2 will be about your skill set, your competitive edge, your ability. And in today's fierce market, you'll need to step up both. I'll cover the why, the what, and the how of each tip. Why is this tip important? What is this tip and how to apply the tip? There's a 1-page download that you can print out that will help you follow along and take good notes. At the end of this module, you'll be invited to identify your number 1 tip that you plan to take action on in the next 10 days to step up your performance. This 10-day challenge will include you checking in with your sales supervisor for additional ideas, coaching, and accountability. Okay, take 10 seconds right now to print out the 1-page download, then let's begin. Okay, let's get started. Here are the 3 tips to get the mental edge. Tip number 1, be sincere. And why? Why be sincere? Because sincerity binds the listener to the speaker. Because the more sincere you are, the more empathy you create. And the more empathy you create, the more business you can get. You see, empathy creates trust. And when trust is up, tension is down. But when trust is down, tension is up. Be more sincere and empathize more to get more business. So how? How can you apply this sales tip? Well, here's how. Be genuine. Develop a genuine interest in helping the client or the prospect that you're calling. Perhaps put face photos of your target clients and prospects in front of you in your cubicle on your wall. Put a mirror perhaps in your cubicle so you can accurately see yourself, so you can effectively hear yourself. In other words, put a smile in your voice. Make sure that your intention is to serve and to solve, not just to sell. You see, the client or the prospect can hear and feel the difference. And focus. Focus on what you plan to give, not just what you plan to get. Focus. An interesting acronym. Fabulous opportunity coming up soon. Tip number 1, be sincere. Tip number 2, pull versus push. And why? Why pull more and push less? Because you've only got 2 tools of influence on a sales call, a question and a statement. You see, a question pulls. It pulls the client or prospect into a conversation. A statement pushes. It pushes the client or the prospect into your presentation. And pull is stronger than push. How? How can you apply this sales tip? Well, here's how. Ask more. Talk less. Use the questions you prepared in the planning stage. Be prepared to facilitate a dialogue instead of a monologue. Think conversation, not presentation. And leverage the Walgreens brand, our name, to provoke the client or the prospect's interest and to pull the prospect into a conversation. When you say with pride, "Hi, I'm calling from Walgreens," you create immediate credibility that can pull the client or the prospect into a conversation about their needs, pull more, push less, provoke more, present less. Tip number 2, pull more, push less. Tip number 3, stay committed but flexible. Why? Why stay committed but flexible? Well, here's the reality: because telephone sales calls rarely go exactly the way that we plan them. True or not true? And so you must stay positive in attitude, but flexible in approach on each call. We don't control the calls, but we do control our attitudes. Attitude, interesting. The only word in the English dictionary whose letters, when added up, equals 100. A 100% attitude. So during the call, stay committed to your outcome, getting the business, but stay flexible in your approach. Customize the conversation on each call. How? How can you apply this sales tip? Well, here's how. Develop a sales philosophy that says, I'll stay committed to my outcome, getting the business, but I'll remain flexible in my approach. Some calls require more listening. Some calls require more questions. And some calls require more information. You must become proficient at reading the situation and then adjusting to the needs of the call. You see, success in telephone sales is not about adhering to a rigid, this way on every call formula. It is about listening and aligning. Listen to the client clues and then adjust your sales approach to meet the needs of the situation. Learn to balance the science of using a script with the art of customizing the call. Tip number 3, stay committed to your outcome, but flexible in your approach. Skill set, here's tip number 1. Ask provocative questions. And why? Because the quality of your call will be consistent with the quality of the questions you ask or fail to ask. You see, if you want better calls, then start asking better questions. Could better questions be the answer to better calls? How? How can you apply this sales tip? Well, here's how. Ask the client or the prospect about their key goals or their key challenges. Think about that. There are only 2 ways that you can drive value. You can either help the client or the prospect avoid a problem or achieve a goal. And you've got to be prepared to ask about both. Current challenges. Ask about their concerns, their issues, their difficulties. Current goals. Ask about their goals, their objectives, their desired outcomes. And provoke their thinking by asking about their future goals and future challenges. Future challenges. Ask about their future consequences if they don't take action. The risks, the consequences, the impacts. Future goals. Ask them about the future rewards or payoffs if they do take action. The rewards, the benefits, the payoffs. At the end of this module, you'll be given a 1-page download of great question starters that you can use to create compelling questions. Tip number 1, ask provocative questions. Here's tip number 2, listen between the lines. Why? Why listen between the lines? Well, you've heard the old adage, the old phrase that says, read between the lines. Well, in telephone sales, you must listen between the lines. And why? Because the strength the client or the prospects need is giving you coaching on what to do next. A weak prospect's need whispers to you, probe further to provoke my interest and to develop my need. A strong prospect's need shouts, present your solutions, let's discuss value. You see, ineffective listening leads to ineffective selling. Did you know that most of the objections that we, sellers, get our own behavior caused? You see, if you want to decrease the number of objections you get, then you've got to increase your listening skills. How? How can you apply this sales tip? Well, first, slow down. Slow down the conversation by showing that you care. Care an interesting acronym. The C, concentrate on what the prospect is saying. The A, acknowledge what the prospect is saying. R, restate, recap, reiterate what the prospect has said. This is key. Do this throughout the call and not just at the end of the call. This will give you a couple of additional seconds to organize your thoughts and prepare to advance the sale. As well, it will demonstrate to the client or the prospect that you're listening sincerely. The E, evaluate. Evaluate what the prospect has said. During the additional seconds that you have when recapping, try to quickly ask yourself, what's the strength of the prospect's need or interest? What quick questions can I create and ask right now to develop the strength of their need or their interest? What intel can I share to provoke their need or interest right now? Focusing the client or the prospect and having effective self-talk requires some mental agility. You must develop that mental agility. You can do it. Do your best to get it all. Tip number 3, propose next steps. Why? Why propose next steps? Well, it's because we get paid to close sales or to advance the sale. It's because if you've cemented trust and created value, then you've earned the right to assume the sale and to ask for the business. How? How can you apply this sales tip? Well, here's how. Crystallize your plan A in your mind before making the outbound call. As well, anticipate. Anticipate any potential objections to your plan A prior to making the outbound call. Perhaps identify the top 2 to 3 objections or potential pushbacks you might get from a client or a prospect, and have an effective plan for handling these objections. Anticipate. As well, be prepared to propose your plan B, your fallback plan, just in case things don't go according to plan. And again, anticipate. Anticipate any potential objections or pushbacks to your fallback plan. Anticipate. Average performers, you see, just have one plan to get the business. Top performers have the same goal, but they also have multiple ways to advance the sale, to move it forward. They've got a plan A, and they've got a fallback plan B. And they have multiple ways of preventing and handling objections. So let me ask you, have you been acting more like a top performer or an average performer? It's time to step up.
Hello, this is Betty Brown.
Hi, this is Joe. I'm calling from Walgreens. I'm calling to see if I can understand your needs and create value for you and for your family.
Joe, you want to understand my needs and create value? You've piqued my interest. Let's talk.
Here's the 10-day challenge. It's true, we're at the end of this module. But what's also true is that we're at the beginning of your performance improvement process. So, here's what I want you to do. Select one of the 6 tips that we've just covered and put it into action within the next 10 days. Commit to getting better in this area by 10%. And share your commitment with your sales supervisor. On day 1, don't delay. Then check back with your sales supervisor 10 days later to give them a progress report. You see, improving your performance is about self-accountability, self-drive, self-discipline. You see, the sales challenge is really the challenge from within. The challenge to step up to the next level. Now I want to invite you to complete the Walgreens survey. Click on the link below to make sure you get credit for completing this module, and I'll see you on the next module.